Hey there Rhetorians, welcome to another deck review video. My name is Ritters and today we're going to take a look at the Clanging Thunder theme deck. So the Crimson Invasion, Sun and Moon Crimson Invasion set just released. Actually, I'm not allowed to say just anymore because it has released 2 or 3 weeks ago. But anyways, it is quite fresh and in my opinion this deck is by far the best currently in the entire Pokemon TCG Online, but this is my personal opinion. I'm really curious to know about your personal opinion, but in this video you're gonna actually see my opinion about the deck, okay? So my stats currently are overall wins 41 out of 62 games played. I've played quite a lot with this deck. I was not expecting to play so much, but it really helped me in collecting my tokens for the video that I posted quite recently called I don't really remember how it's called, but it is 50 Crimson Invasion booster packs. You can see it in the YouTube card right now. But anyways, it helped me quite a lot, so that's basically why I played so much. I also live streamed this on trying to, you know, master this, perfect this deck. So, enough of all this ramble. This is a close to 67% win rate, and this is quite good, in my opinion. I think that this deck can reach 80. I seriously believe that this deck can reach 80% win rate, but you have to practice quite a lot with it, and you have to find ways to deal with the terrible weakness, which is basically fighting. That's a great weakness. But I found myself dying to Lunala. But anyways, let's go from start to finish. I'm going to let's review it. How do I get to the other view? Anyways, doesn't really matter. So we will start with our Pokemon. We have 3 Pikachu. This Pikachu is not the best one. However, even okay, the sole purpose of this Pikachu is to evolve into a Raichu, okay? And we have 2 of those. Alolan Raichu, 2 of those. Quite of a good card, I'm gonna get there. But even if this is a basic Pokemon and the sole purpose of it is to evolve, Pick-a-Draw is not bad at all. This deck has a huge advantage because it has quite a lot of ways to draw the threats and everything. So, draw power is a very very good thing, and this deck has quite a lot of it. So pick a draw with 1 energy, draw a card, and quick attack is not relevant, but you may use it at some point. I don't really suggest going with that, but you know, you have to put 3 energies in Pikachu anyways to evolve into Alolan Raichu, which is a 110 HP lightning type Pokemon. Surge Surfer, if there is any stadium card in play, this Pokemon has no retreat cost. That helped me quite a lot in many matches. And yes, we do have 1 stadium card which is helping the dragon types that we are having, but we're gonna get there. So it is possible to trigger this Surge Surfer by ourselves, and that is perfect. With 3 energy, Physic, 70 damage. This attack does 20 more damage times the amount of energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. So this Raichu is not really a huge threat by himself, but he or it, I'm not sure, becomes a bigger threat as it actually takes revenge from your opponent's Pokemon that have lots of energy, and this is a very powerful move. We have seen this in very many Pokemon, and most of the times it pays off, especially in this Raichu, which you can retreat him whenever you don't need it. It is very good, and we have 2 of those. Definitely not the best card in the deck currently, but it is a threat nevertheless, and I like that. We have 2 Emolga. This was a Pokemon that I was really not liking in the beginning, and I still don't really like it, but it's not completely useless. It has the energy cuts. Put 3 basic energy cards from your discard pile into your hand. This is for terrible situations when you completely run out of energy. Most probably you will not in this deck, but you know, you might need a fighting type energy or lightning type energy ASAP, and this Emolga is gonna get it for you, but most of the times you're gonna use Volt Switch, which with 1 energy deals 30 damage and switches this Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon, with your bench Lightning type Pokemon. Usually I do this to switch between Emolgas, the 2 Emolgas, but if you don't have, most of the times I don't like this Volt Switch. I don't like the fact that it forces me to switch, but if you don't have another Lightning type Pokemon, this Emolga is going to stay in the active spot forever. I mean, it's not going to force you to switch with anything else. What I found the best value of this Emolga is that it one-shots the opponent mirror Emolga, because Emolga surprisingly has weakness to electric or lightning and has resistance to fighting, which is quite strange. But still, that's a good thing, because we at least have a lightning type Pokemon that has resistance to fighting, which is rare. But yeah, most of the times I use it to one-shot, knock out the opponent Emolga whenever my opponent has it in the active spot. That's a cool trade. Actually, it's not a trade, that's very good value. Now, Solrock is a fighting type Pokemon, 90 HP, and that's quite a lot for a basic, by the way. With 1 energy, double draw 2 cards, that is fantastic, especially in this deck. It gives you a very, very good advantage. You need... Let's ignore that. I live in a very noisy neighborhood and I really hate that, but let's continue. So, this deck relies on draw power, and when I was live streaming this, I was making fun with viewers that this deck needs draw power to draw its draw power, and that sometimes that is the case. And yes, this is basically why I lose. So if I've played 62 games and I won 41, most of the times the 21 games that I've lost is probably due to the fact that I didn't draw my draw cards, or I didn't draw my best cards. So Solrock really helps deal with this one. So maybe I could say that most of the wins that I had is due to Solrock or other draw cards, because I got my threats and I knocked down my opponents ASAP. But anyways, drawing 2 cards every single turn, this is huge value, especially because we have quite energy heavy Pokemon in the bench, so we get tons of time to make sure that we're gonna hit this energy drop every single turn, and that we're going to build our power in the bench and then retreat the Solrock by any means and start knocking down our opponent's Pokemon, and this is very cool. Other than that, Solar Hit with 1 fighting type energy deals 20 damage plus 20 more damage if you have a stadium card, which you do, which is 40 damage, which is quite a lot basically. So even if you don't need to draw anymore, Solrock is a huge threat, especially against Pokemon that have weakness to fighting, which translates this 40 damage into 80 damage, which is a lot for 1 energy, right? Especially if you use Professor Cucuy, that is even more. That can be 120 damage if the opponent Pokemon has resistance, actually weakness. But anyways, Solrock, a very decent card. Now we have 3 Sealers, and this is definitely a crap card, which in my opinion has the most value in this deck, because it evolves into this beauty. I actually don't like the artwork, but this card is beautiful. This is basically, in my opinion, the most powerful card in the deck. It is an uncommon card, which is extremely strange, has 120 HP, which is a lot, and it has 2 attacks with 2 energy. Airy Flood, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, 30 damage, your opponent's active Pokemon is now confused, very powerful, very useful, but most of the times you're going to use, with 3 energy, Earthquake, 120 freaking damage for an uncommon Pokemon. I cannot freaking believe that. This attack does 10 damage to each of your bench Pokemon. We don't really care about this. It is a drawback, and I accept it. It might cause trouble, and it will at some point, but most of the times you will not reach the point where you are going to worry about this 10 damage into your bench, because this Gastrodon is going to actually destroy all of your opponent's threats so fast that you're not gonna worry about your bends. Most of the times, that was my case. Most of the games that I won was due to this Gastrodon. Also, we're gonna see later on that you don't need a huge bends, and this is because of, you know, this Como O, but we're gonna get there. I wanna say quite a few more things about Gastrodon, because you might say, hey, why it is so important? Why it is so awesome? I mean, most of the decks have at least one card that deals 120 damage and it is able to knock out any of the theme deck Pokemons. Most of them, at least. So the reason why it is so awesome is because we have two of these, and it is a huge threat. This is the most important, in my opinion, thing in Pokemon TCG. The more threats that you have compared to your opponent, that's how you win the game, in my opinion. So if I have 7 threats and my opponent has... If I have 6 threats and my opponent has 4, most obviously I will knock down his threats faster than he will knock down my threats, so I'm going to claim my prizes faster. So this deck has 2 Raichus, which are medium threats, 2 Gastrodons, which are huge threats, or actually big threats, and 2 Como O's, which are enormous threats. So Como O can basically deal with almost everything, Gastrodon can deal with almost everything again, and Raichu can deal with most of the things under certain circumstances. So we have 6 huge threats. If our opponent doesn't have 6 huge threats, which is, by the way, it's the number of prizes that our opponent has to get, then we will probably win. And this is very, very, very important, my friends. Very important aspect of the game. Now, the only thing that I don't like, and at the same time I do like, about Gastrodon is that it can knock out himself, actually his opponent, the opponent Gastrodon, with one hit, which is both a good and a bad thing. So the toughest matchups that I had with this deck is the Mirror. And in the Mirror, in my opinion, it is 95%, 95% of the times, in my opinion, you're going to, the player that is going to win is the one that draws the most threats and prepares them faster than the other one. So that's basically my opinion about Gastrodon. By far my favorite Pokemon in this set, in this deck. I like Gastrodon more than Como O, believe it or not. So we're gonna go there now. We have a Jangmo O, actually 3 of these, evolving into Hakamo O, which is an okay Pokemon. Noble Roar, your opponent switches their active Pokemon with one of their bench Pokemon. That is okay, but not surprising. I mean, I don't really like this, but it has saved my... Sometimes it might save your day, let's put it that way. And with 2 energy cards, 40 damage, which is an okay move, you might need a good, fast start, aggressive start, and this Pokemon can provide that. But what is more important is Como O, which is a fantastic Pokemon, 160 HP, that is a lot. That means that it cannot get knocked out by an opponent Gastrodon, or even an opponent Como O. It cannot knock down itself, which is a good thing. And it really makes the Mirror matchup way more complicated, even though later on you will see that there is a way in this deck to knock out an opponent Como O with one hit, and we're gonna see that in a bit. So, with 2 energy, this is by far one of my favorite moves. Warcry, 30 damage plus. If you have fewer Pokemon in play than your opponent, this attack does 90 more damage. That is fantastic. That is a fantastic move. With 2 energy, 120 damage, that is awesome. Especially in this deck, we don't need a huge bench. We don't need to have lots of Pokemon in our bench because of Gastrodon. So what we do basically is we kinda sort of keep our threats in our hand and make sure that whenever we are close into losing a threat, we start preparing the second one. That's what I do. We're gonna see most of these things hopefully in the playlist video. I'm not sure if we're gonna have the chance to get to see them, but we will see. So with 3 energy, Clanging Scales, be careful, we need a lightning type, a fighting type, and a colorless. So you have to be careful on how you use your fighting type and lightning type energies, especially for Gastrodon. Unfortunately, he needs 2, and that might be an issue. But anyways, so with 3 energy, Clanging Scales, 130 damage. During your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes 30 more damage from attacks. This is quite sad, because if you do that, your opponent, Como-O, can knock you down with 1 hit. And this gives you a disadvantage, or gives your opponent a threat advantage. I mean, he has more threats from now on. That is quite sad, but it can turn around and you can benefit from it. Whatever, it is a powerful attack. The bad thing is that it only provides 10 damage benefit compared to the Warcry. And most of the times it doesn't worth doing it, but you might need to bend something. You're probably going to lose the Warcry, so you might be in a situation where you do need to hit that extra 10 damage. But that's okay. Should I review this crap type null first? Okay, let's quickly go to the crappy type null Pokemon before going to the serious, very serious trainer cards. We have type null with 2 energy, armor press, 30 damage. During your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes 30 less damage. That is not that bad. Honestly, that is not that bad. I like this move. But with 3 energy, 70 damage, that is not decent at all, especially because this Pokemon has weakness to fighting, and fighting is all over the place nowadays. 110 HP, that's quite low for a rare Pokemon. I'm really not sure why this Pokemon is rare. In the normal form, it is a holo rare, which makes it even more strange. I really cannot understand this. This is non-holo just because of this deck. Okay, I think that the value of it is to evolve into Silvally GX. So now I get it. Now I see a little bit of value to it. But anyways, let's go to the trainers, and I'm going to go first to Professor Cucuy. So Professor Cucuy, you're not Professor Cucuy. Professor Cucuy draws you 2 cards and deals 20 more damage this turn. So your Pokemon deal 20 more damage due to Professor Cucuy. And we also have this Devoured Field, which the attacks of your Dark type and Dragon type Pokemon do, both yours and your opponents, do 10 more damage to their opponent active Pokemon. So if you combine Devoured Field and Professor Cucuy, your Como-O can deal 160 damage with Clanging Scales, which knocks down with 1 hit your opponent's Como-O. So this is possible. This is possible without sacrificing your Como-O next turn because of this 130 extra damage. But it is a scenario which is not that easy to happen. Again, it is good because you can knock out Lunalas that way and other great and powerful Pokemon. So let's now go to the regular review of my trainer cards. We have 1 sweet, powerful card. I think that it was not really necessary in this deck, but it proves always to be useful. I'm not sure if we could trade it off with something else, it could be better. But anyways, we have 2 Timer Balls, which is a very important card in order to hit those Gastrodons, those Hakamo-O or Como-O. Flip 2 coins for each head, search your deck for an evolution Pokemon, reveal it and put it into your hand. So this adds up to the drawing power that I was mentioning before. We have 1 Rescue Stretcher. Most of the times, this actually is amazing because I've talked a lot about in this video about threats. So this Rescue Stretcher basically brings a threat from the discard pile, or what is called, discard pile, onto my hand, which makes it even more tough for my opponent to get straight after a huge, threat. He might deal with a huge threat of mine, and then I'm going to bring it back, so I'm kinda ruining his day that way. And I've done this quite a lot of times. Most of the times I use it to put 1 Pokemon straight to my hand instead of putting 3 Pokemon from the discard pile into the deck. Most of the times I just need that Gastrodon. I have my Sealos ready, I just draw the Gastrodon and boom, start dealing damage again. that is most of the times my play. We have 2 nest balls, which are really helpful on hitting those Jagmo-O, Silos and stuff. Very good card. Many times I draw, Soul Rocks with this one. Search your deck for a Pokemon, basic Pokemon, and put it straight onto your bench, then shuffle your deck. You have to be quite careful with this one because you might negate the War Cry from Como-O and you don't want to do that. Ultra Ball guarantees that you're gonna get the Pokemon that you need, the right time that you need it, with just discarding 2 cards. This is a very staple card. We all know what Ultra Balls do. Big Malasada, that is a lifesaver. Don't underestimate this card, especially for healing this special condition. This is very, very, very important. Also, the heal of 20 damage is important, but the special condition is the most important. I have saved my day quite a lot of times with healing confusions and sleeps and poisons and all that stuff. You get the point. Actually, we also have 1 energy retrieval, which is good to be able to retrieve the energy that we need whenever we need it. Most of the times I use that to bring back a lightning type or a fighting type or one of each, because I do need this specific energy right at the time that I need it. Very important. Escape Rope. Again, I've mentioned that I don't think that this deck really needs switching, but it's a good thing to make sure that, let's say that your opponent is preparing the only threat in his bench, he has no other, because let's say that he's trying not to increase his bench quite a lot, because you have a Como-O. So in that case, Escape Rope can really, really benefit you by bringing the threat on the active spot, and that is amazing whenever it happens. Most of the times, that play resolves into a concede, which is quite cool. Devour Field, we've talked about this in the we have talked about this before. Good thing is that it boosts Soul Rock, it boosts your dragons, it also, I don't know, removes your opponent trainer stadium if you've played that second. So that's good. How? We have 3 How. That is amazing. Draw 3 cards. That is what I've said about draw power. This deck has quite a lot of it, and it needs it. So it is quite sad. You've seen how much draw power. Also, Professor Cucuy draws 2 cards. So we have tons of cards that draw cards, and it is very, very sad when we get into a point where we don't have the cards to draw cards. That is devastating, but it happens sometimes. So How draws us 2 cards. Also, Lily draws cards. Draw cards until you have 6 cards in your hand. If it's your first turn, draw cards until you have 8 cards in your hand. So, when I start the game with Lily, when I start and I have Lily and I have the chance to draw 8 cards, I stop caring about my bench. I bench everything. I care about card draw most of the times. I mean it. It is very important. If I can completely empty my hand and be left with 1 Lily turn 1, which is going to draw me 8 cards, I'm gonna do that regardless of my bench size. So that's what I suggest you do as well. And this Lily is really, really helping out in cases where you are hand dead, which is quite rare in this deck. But again, if this is your first turn, Lily is powerful. Professor Cucuy, we've talked about this card before, amazing card. And 1 XP share, this is extremely useful, especially when I just need to prepare 1 threat and I don't have my other threats, and I am forced to do Soul Rocks and Emolgas and stuff to just stay alive until my threat is ready. XP share can really save the day. So most of the times I use XP share when I'm in a bad drawing situation. I don't draw the cards that I want to. And then we have 12 fighting type and 8 lightning type energy, and that concludes the deck review, my friends. Oh, we also have a gold Como-O coin and a Clanging Thunder deck box and default card sleeves. But anyways, so this, in my opinion, this is the best theme deck currently in the game. This is my personal opinion. I'm really, really curious to know what is your opinion. The other theme deck in this same set, which I'm going to review quite soon, I just need quite a few more tokens to purchase it. I'm almost there. It is called Destruction Fang, and it is so badly designed. It is a powerful deck, but it is weak to Clanging Thunder, and that sucks, my friends. It is a good deck and it doesn't have the chance to shine because of Clanging Thunder, which is really smashing its face. But anyways, we're gonna talk about this in another video, of course. I'm not going to spend time right now. So I'm really interested to know your opinion about this deck, because in my opinion, I've mentioned that so many times. It is my personal favorite and I think it's the best currently. So let me know in the description below what do you think about this deck. I'm going to create a playtest video soon, I hope tomorrow, about this deck, so you're gonna see it in action. I hopefully will show you all the things that I've talked about in this video, and again, I really hope that you're having a great time. Check out your screen right now, you will see quite a few other videos. Click any that you may like, and until then, take very good care of yourself, and I'm gonna see you in the playtest video of this theme deck. Until then.